Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is April the 2nd, 2025, and we are continuing our study on clean and unclean foods. So we left off at verse 8. I've made some corrections, as you can see here. Whenever it feels like it, it will go up for us. Here we go. And I've taken out all of the uncleans, all of them as errors. Oops, here's one. He is unclean to you. Let's just mark that. And we'll read through it quickly. Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat. Among all the beasts that are on the earth, whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud, among the beasts that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat, of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof. As the camel, because he cheweth not the cud, but divided not the hoof. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. Of their flesh shall ye not eat. Those were the original writings of the prophet. So let's continue on. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination to you. Before I even started this study, I kept trying to find some kind of clue as to what was meant by an abomination. Now, before, as we didn't really read it, everything was just unclean. And then suddenly they come up with an abomination. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Well, I couldn't find anything. And so it's just made up. The Bible is not a Bible of confusion. It's not. It tells you what things mean. It doesn't give you more questions to confuse the matter. Of course, I looked for some patterns, and there are some patterns for the mammals that you don't find in the water. The one that stands out most is that you see us utilizing the mammal very often in our daily life. Skins, coats, clothes are made out of the skins of the animals and the beasts of the land. Whereas, I've not seen a whale-skin coat or anything like that. But we use all of the beasts, the ones that are edible and the ones that are inedible, for their fur and things like that. But you just don't see things of the ocean that are used in everyday life amongst us. So that was the most obvious sign. So I thought maybe that was an abomination. I can't remember particularly why I ruled that out, because as I said before, I was curious about this even before I began the study. But that was not the definition of abomination. It wasn't that it was somehow cleaner or safer. It wasn't that it could be utilized without fear of the contaminants that are in it. None of that checks out in the Bible. None of it. And I even considered, maybe if we eat these foods, they are more poisonous than I actually considered maybe if we ate the foods, or if we used the foods, that they were more difficult to clean. And so that's why we don't use them. And that could be it. But it doesn't tell you in the Bible. And the Bible is not a book of confusion. If it tells you it's an abomination, it should give you an explanation as to what it means, especially since this is not a command. This doesn't have to be hidden. It doesn't have to be hidden from us, because this is supposed to be a blessing for everyone. It was given to us because, I have thundering and lightning outside. Well, I don't know if there's lightning, but there's thundering. So you're probably going to hear it on this video. Um, a detestable thing or an idol, an unclean thing, an abomination, a detestable. Detestable, you're not supposed to like it. You're supposed to be revolted. I mean, revolted at eating it, okay, but you're not going to be revolted at eating unclean foods? Only the foods from the water? That doesn't make any sense at all. This was all made up. It was all made up. It doesn't mean anything. If you put it in there, here's the key. If you want to leave it in there, leave it in there. You know why? Because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change one thing, not one bit at all. It changes nothing. It's still going to be clean or unclean to you. It's still going to be fit for food, or it's not going to be fit to food. They don't tell you what the meaning of it is. So any meaning that you get, you're going to have to apply to it. So you just make up something, or you just don't make up something. I choose the latter. It's not a real statement. So I just took them all out. They shall be even an abomination unto you. That's not a real statement. You shall not eat of their flesh, but you shall have their carcasses in abomination. And we've already gone over that in the previous study. None of these, where it says you don't touch the carcass, none of that is true. There is so much that was wrong in this study. I didn't even want to do the study, but I'll tell you what happened. When we did the study on blood and on blood and oil, what was it? I can't remember. But I can't remember, but we went to Deuteronomy 12, and I had originally marked up so much of Deuteronomy 12. I was wondering if it was even a real book, if they had just made it up. I had marked up so much of it, I just kind of felt bad about bringing it to you. I was like, well, maybe we can just leave this for later. Maybe I've been too hard. And I ended up blocking out this part and leaving this part. I was trying to make it more palatable. And then when I went back to it a week or so later, I had taken out so much and left so little that I didn't understand anything of what I had done. And I didn't want to hold the study up trying to redo that. So I left it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just go back and do it later. And of course, I haven't redone Deuteronomy 12. And I felt bad. Like I had robbed you guys of something that some of you might like to have known. Even if I was blocking out whole paragraphs, I don't really remember how much I blocked out, but I know I felt uncomfortable with it. It made me uncomfortable. So I just wasn't going to do that here. I still don't like taking out big chunks of the Bible, but I can't make you believe it. All I can do is tell you, and you have to take it from there. So, all lies. Whatsoever hath no fins, no scales in the water, that shall be an abomination unto you. And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten, they are an abomination. The eagle and the ostrich and the osprey and the vulture and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, and the owl and the nighthawk and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl and the cormorant, and the great owl and the swan and the pelican and the gier eagle, and the stork and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing and the bat, all fowls that creep going upon all fours shall be an abomination unto you. And we have 3 more verses? Let's stop there because I want to show you guys a chart, because I understand that there's some question about the chicken. So I found a chart. This is from Walter Veith. Hold on. This is from Walter Veith of Amazing Discoveries. His study called Clean and Unclean, the Whole Truth. He also goes over what some of these animals are, by the way. But there was a test done. And what the test, what they did was they took a part of the animal, or they took a part of the animal. What they did was they planted the original seed. Okay, they planted it in the dirt, and then they took a part of the animal and then they planted it with fertilizer. They planted the same plant with fertilizer from that animal, and then they measured if the growth of the animal, whether it increased in growth, or I don't know if any of them increased. I think one may have, but the decrease in growth mainly. And the percentage is the percentage of growth that the plant had with the fertilizer from that animal. So here we have the mammals. So a sheep, it had 94% growth. The plant had 94% of its growth with fertilizer from a sheep. And then 92 for the ox, and then the goat, and so on. And you see the numbers, and then they begin to drop right at the dog. So you have the calf is 82%. I'll try to find the link, but you should, by the way, you should be able to just type in Walter Veith and then clean and unclean, and it'll come right up for you. But I'll try to remember to put a link there. Sometimes I forget. And then, of course, you look at all of the other unclean animals. They're all like under 60%. But the clean ones you see are in the higher levels of 80 and 90%. So let's look at the fish. You have the, went down too far. You have the sea bass, 103%. Okay, I thought there was at least one, but there's two. Then you have herring. Then you have pike, salmon, cod, all clean, clean, clean. Clean, clean until you get to the shark. And then it makes a severe drop. It just drops right off. All unclean to you as far as eating. And then we go to the birds. And so I put it on here because of the chicken, because of the question about the chicken. The chicken is actually part of the quail family. So we can know that it is clean because quails were eaten. God brought quails from them to eat. A lot of them. So the pigeon is the highest at 93%. Then you have the duck, the quail, the coot, the swan is clean, goose and turkey. Now, Walter Veith is going to tell you that these are all unclean, by the way. He's going to say, no, they're unclean. And he may be right, because there's going to, if it hasn't already come, there's going to come a point where the animals have eaten or are so unhealthy that they themselves become unclean. So, and then if you eat a sick chicken, then that becomes an unclean animal to you. And I use that term because we don't, it's just a familiar term that we know. So that's what Walter Veith is going to tell you. He's going to say all of them are unclean. We're too close to the end of days and it's not safe. But it was safe at one time. And you can tell by the percentages here, not to mention the fact that the chicken is part of the quail family. So Canadian goose, Canada goose, wild duck, chicken, and then it drops off at the sparrowhawk. It's called the phytotoxic index. And here's the name again in case you didn't see before. Clean and Unclean Foods, Clean and Unclean, The Whole Truth by Walter Veith. All right, so let's move this away. And, okay. So where did we leave off here? I wanted to show you because of the chicken. So we went through that, and then we went through the birds. This was a problem here. No, not that. Let's continue on. It's down further here. Yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing. Let's start here. All fowls, which is a flying thing, that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. Yet, Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. I don't know if you noticed what I noticed, but this word other changes the meaning of the sentence. I'm willing to work with an it or an and or a shall be or something like that. But when you say an other, it's the opposite of the meaning of in here. I mean, I will even work with another, but another as another one, you may choose the other. Here, it's saying it goes from all to all other. And that's just not the same. All flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. I couldn't leave it at that. So I had to research the locust. So let's take a look at what I found. Wait, hold on a moment. Let's look at Deuteronomy first, because I pulled some more scriptures from Deuteronomy. So all of this is made up from best I can tell. The entire thing is made up. They pulled it from Leviticus 11 and they just made all of this up and put it in here. Let's read through it though. And I can tell it's made up because of the use of the words. It's very clean writing, but it uses the lie. It incorporates the lie without explaining what it is. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. What is an abominable thing? It doesn't tell you. These are the beasts which ye shall eat, the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the bipang. We're not going to read all of that. Anyway, it goes on and it says they are unclean to you. But it never says abominable is unclean. Well, I mean, I suppose you could read it here, but you can't read it from the other writings. It's just, and why would you assume that they would go from abominable to unclean and from clean to abominable? Why not just use the same word? It was all written at the same time. It doesn't make sense. And the swine, because it is divided the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. You shall not eat of the flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These ye shall eat of all that are in the waters, all that have fins and scales shall ye eat. And whatsoever hath not fins and scales, ye may not eat it. It is unclean to you. Of all clean birds ye shall eat. Here we go with this clean and unclean again. Now this isn't real, but they incorporated the word clean in here as though it was real. So the whole thing was made up. But these are they which ye shall not eat. Oh, I don't know why I highlighted that. Anyway, continuing on. The eagle and the... Well, I'm going to unhighlight that because I don't know. I don't know why I put that highlight there. But these are they which ye shall not eat. The eagle and the ostrich and the osprey. We don't need to read through all of that. And here we go. And the stork and the heron and her kind, and the lapwing and the bat, and every creeping thing that flieth is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten. But of all clean fowls ye may eat. Of every creeping thing that flieth is unclean to you. It shall not be eaten. Well, it said every other thing that creepeth and flieth other than the locust in Leviticus 11. But of all clean fowls ye may eat. Ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Ye shall give. I don't know. I left that in there because I don't know if that's real or not. It's not written anywhere else, but it certainly is true. So I left it in as true. You shall not give it unto the stranger that You shall give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates. No, they are operating under the same laws that you are operating under if they are in your gates, that they may eat it, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people. You are not a holy people. Holy people means good. They're trying to associate holiness with food. This is a horrible and wicked trickery which they're trying to play on God's people. Holiness is not derived from the foods you eat. God himself, Jesus himself tells you this. We read it in the previous study. It is not what goes into your body that defiles you. It is what comes out, your personality. Holy is good. It is not, you're not good because you eat clean foods. Let's start back from here. Thou mayest sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people. Well, that sounds real holy. You won't eat it, so sell it to somebody else. Sell your poison to somebody else instead of... Look, I'm not saying that this is wrong, but because it's in here, it's wrong. It's just wrong, and I am saying that it's wrong because it's just the wrong thing to do. Thou mayest sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people. The fact that they combine those two so closely is why I took it out altogether. If it had been on its own, I could have maybe have accepted it. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But there would have been a possibility. But in the context that it's in, to turn around and say that you're holy after you have sold something that you know to be unhealthy to a person, and it's fraud. It's wrong. They didn't say give it to them. They said sell it to them. Thou mayest sell it to an alien, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in its mother's milk. That has no place in this sentence. It doesn't have anything at all to do with this. This is not your greatest blessing. Even though it is a blessing to you, it is not your greatest blessing. It's an extra blessing that God added on because he loves you and he wanted to do something nice for you. Want to avoid sickness? Eat the foods that keep you healthy. Avoid the foods that make you sick. That's your blessing. If you want to tithe, give to God. He'll give you more. He can trust you to depend on you to help those here on earth, your brethren, when they need help, without tempting you and without hurting you. It's a wonderful blessing to be able to give. It's a wonderful thing to not have to worry and cling to $1. Now, I'm a woman. It's going to be different for me than it's for a man. But if you want it to be easy, then you have to learn to tithe. Because it's not going to get any easier for you clinging onto those dollars with bloody fingers. If anything, it's going to get worse. Anyway, my point is that they repeat the same thing here. And every creeping thing that flieth is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten. So they changed it in one place. They forgot to change it here. Let's go on. Oh, let's look at my research. Because I did some research because I couldn't accept that it said that it put that word other in there. So let's look at locust. Locust. Native to Madagascar, the incredibly colored rainbow milkweed locust is toxic due to its propensity to eat milkweed. The stunning color and wild patterns make this species look like it belongs on Pandora, an alien moon setting of James Cameron's film Avatar. I had a picture of it too. I forgot. I didn't put it in here. Are rainbow milkweed locusts poisonous to humans? When threatened, it, like other members of its genus, produces a poisonous froth from openings beneath its wings. The toxin comes from the milkweed plant, which the locust eats, and is strong enough to kill animals and people. They are poisonous when they are threatened. So what about John the Baptist? While John the Baptist's diet is described as eating locusts and wild honey in the Gospels, the term locust could refer to either the insect or the carrot bean, suggesting a potential vegetarian or at least plant-based diet. In ancient Greek, the word for locust, the insect, is, etc., while the Greek word for carob tree, referring to its pod, is, and they weren't close enough for me to make anything of that, because I thought, well, maybe the words were close, but that didn't check out. It means little horn. What was the locust that John the Baptist ate? John the Baptist's diet has been the center of much discussion. For many years, the Greek word for locust was interpreted as referring not to locust, the insect, but rather the seed pod of the carob tree. But the Greek word is not used this way, and the notion is generally rejected today. Carob grows on trees. Carob grows on trees is a member of the legume. Why is it grows instead of grown? I think they made a mistake. Carob grown on trees is a member of the legume family, and is frequently turned into a popular chocolate substitute. It's also known as locust bean or St. John's bread, and has been cultivated since the late 1800s in the Mediterranean and other parts of the world with similar climates. Carob. That's what John ate, because locusts are poisonous. Just think about it for a moment. I already thought about it. Listen. Oh, you know what I put in here? I have something here. Where did I put it? I marked it. Here we are. I was thinking to myself, with all of the poor people in the world, how could you have a swarm of locusts if they could be eaten? I thought to myself, anybody that was poor would have gotten a bag and ran and swooped up all those locusts. If they were in a garden, they would have their men paid. Now, they're supposed to bite. Okay, I knew that they bite. The farmer could have told the poor people, go out there and have them, take them for free. Be careful of my food. They would have wiped out that plague. Even though the plague was really big, it was, I can't remember if I put it in here or not. We'll look at it in a moment. There wouldn't be a hungry person for miles. Little Elijah would have come out with his fork. Daddy would have hiked up the grill and went out with a basket and a couple of bags, and everybody would have been eating good probably for the rest of the week. What do you mean a swarm of locusts and locusts could be eaten? That's what led me to do the research. It's not possible for you to have a bunch of poor, starving people. Remember when Elijah was going to went to the widower, and she said, we're going to eat this bread, and then me and my child are going to just go in the house and die? How is that possible when you could just pick up some locusts and breed locusts? A feast brought to you. But instead, everybody was miserable. We'll come back to this, because I think I put scriptures in here. We'll come back to this. Everybody was miserable. So let's look at it. Hold on. Let me see how many scriptures I have. We're going to have to start another video. Oh, I should have started it before. Okay, we're going to start another video, but I'm going to reread the images that I got, because I want all of that on one video. So let's stop here and we'll come back. We'll do a quick review of the images, and then we'll pick up our study on whether locusts are clean foods and safe to eat. I'll talk to you in the next video.